we'll start on the higher time frames for now. You know, we're still diddling in the middle of this range, right? Diddling in the middle. So we've got December's range here, right? So again, we've swept out this high here on the monthly. So we've taken a key high time frame area of liquidity. We came up into, you know, a high time frame point of interest here. We have this bearish fair value gap on the monthly chart, came up in there, wicked it, took out the highs, and had a nice rejection. This also coincided with the whole ETF craziness, right? So from here, we've seen a decent pullback. We've pulled back, you know, 20+%, but we've actually retraced over half of that already. Zooming in on the time frame monthly, right? Like, to me, the monthly is saying a correction. Like, the monthly is saying larger correction. To me, we've taken out external range liquidity, right? So now the next place I would be looking on the monthly is, where's the internal range? Well, I see it is right there. We have this fair value gap here. This also coincides with the low of December's. So price likes to move from liquidity to liquidity. Generally, when you have a price leg, the initial move is going to be taking out some sort of external range liquidity, meaning external of this price leg, right? So it's not liquidity within this leg, it's over here, external range. And then the retrace, right, generally is going to then target internal range liquidity, and it's going to rebalance. You know, that's kind of the ICT of it. To me, that's just what the monthly says here, right? So we have a monthly fair value gap, external range liquidity here, taken, internal range liquidity within this monthly price leg right here, confluent with December's lows. This is why I'm still of the mindset that we have a bit more downside to come. I talked about this in last night's video. I said, listen, if we pump even just a little bit, right? Instead of just rolling over yesterday or today, we pump even just a little bit, we're going to have a bunch of people come on here and tell you, oh, I told you to buy the dip. I was long. And what happened today? Everyone was long. They all longed the bottom of Solana. They all longed the bottom of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everyone was long. It's amazing. It's amazing how the move happens and then all of a sudden everybody was on board. But we've stayed pretty consistent with our bias here in that I'm still of the belief that we're range bound and we're just trading within December's range. So if we throw back on our levels here, so this low is the low for December. This high is the high for December. And we're trading within the upper bound of this range. So you could even have another range here, right? And we're just trading right smack in the middle of that. But I'm going to use December's range the same way that I used June's range back here. So if you remember, and you'd been following me for a while, we had a bunch of trades we took based on June's range, right? It's very similar kind of idea here where we saw the range high get taken out, then the range low, then the move. And that's kind of what I'm hoping happens here. I'm hoping that we've taken out the range high. Next, I want to see the range low. And then I would like to see continuation of this trend to the upside. That's what I'm looking for personally still on Bitcoin. Now, as we drill down and we get onto the lower time frames, right, you get a little bit more detail, right? So we have this big spike up here. This was purging that liquidity pool over from the left. We had a break and shift in structure. We put displacement into the downside. So to me, everything that we saw here from the raid, from the market structure shift and the displacement, the fair value gap that got left, leads me to believe that any sort of bounce I'm looking at is a lower high. That's the low time frame view I have right now. Low time frame relative to the monthly and the weekly is that this is giving me a clue that the direction is down. And so any sort of bounce, right, I'm looking for that lower high because that's really all that trading is, right? We're moving up and down, right? Yeah, sometimes we can go sideways, but primarily it's up and down. And if we're in an uptrend and you think that the trend is to the upside, your goal is not to long the top, right? You don't want to long this. You don't want to long this. Yeah, maybe you end up being right, but the likelihood of you longing here, holding through this, and then, you know, cashing out up here is very low. So what do you want to do? You're trying to time these higher lows, right? You're trying to time the higher lows. So how do you do that? Really what we're looking for is we're trying to determine, okay, the swing high is in, where is the higher low going to form? Where is this retracement going to come to? And what do we look for? We're looking for order blocks. We're looking for breakers. We're looking for price to trade within the discount, right? So the sub 50% of this range, right? I want to see us in a discount. I want to see us hit a POI. And then on the low time frame, what I'm looking for is the market to shift back bullish. Because if this is a weekly uptrend, on the daily, there is going to be a downtrend here heading into that higher low. And then what you want to do is you want to time when is that daily chart going to sync back up with that high time frame. And that's done on the low time frame, right? So the high time frame determines your trend. Okay, I'm bullish. I'm looking to long a pullback. Okay, well, that pullback looks like a downtrend on the low time frame. Now you need to figure out, when is it going to sync back up? That's when you want to get involved, right? And then you want to ride this for that next leg up on the high time frame. So that's really what we're looking for, but we're doing this in the inverse right now, right? Because I believe that, hey, this 12-hour leg, I think, is going to continue lower. I have a target of down here. I could short here, but really, I would much rather short here. And what are we looking for? I'm looking for a clue that this trend on the low time frame is syncing up with this high time frame order flow, thesis, idea, trend, whatever you want to call it. So when we look at that in practical terms, as we bounce here, and keep in mind, you can play, if you think we are going down, you can still play long here. But keep in mind that we believe the high time frame trend is down. So you got to know when to take profit. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking for clues in this bounce that we are actually getting ready to roll back over. So what does that look like? Well, I'm looking for areas where that bounce could cap out. The first one was this fair value gap here. If that fails and we trade higher, then I'll be looking at this breaker, which is a little higher up. But right now we're trading within this fair value gap. We've put in a bunch of sweeps. We swept those highs. We swept the highs. So that's enough of a clue for me to take a stab. Because if my thesis is that this is going to end in this, I'm willing to try and short this here. And if I'm wrong, I'm willing to try again up here. So that's what I'm doing right now. We're in this fair value gap here. We've pulled back. I would argue we're probably right just about at the 50% of the range. So one of the things that's not going for this, I guess you could say, we're not quite, well, we tagged the 50%. We tagged the discount, but just slightly. The deeper the pullback, the better. So I'm willing to take a stab here on the short. And if this pops up and makes one more leg, I'm willing to try and take another stab on the short up at this breaker, because ultimately I still think we're probably going to trade down into December's low. So that's the setup I took. I posted this in Telegram. Could I be wrong? Of course, but we had an H12 sweep here. We had an H1 market structure break, H1 breaker. So I took the short. I'm underwater. So that's what I'm looking for right now on Bitcoin. I would like to see this sell off. I would like to see it trade below 42,600. If that does not happen, and if we are going to go up, the area that I think we will trade into next is up here. So the range high, 44,700 up to 46,500, right? So if this fails and we leg up, this is where I'd look for another potential short. Where do I cut this bearish thesis? Where is it like, okay, I was just wrong? Because that is 100% a possibility. Obviously, I would like to be right, but I could absolutely be wrong, and we could go and trade to 50K, right? Or and beyond. To me, if we start holding above December's high here, we start trading above here and we're holding, right? We're not putting in bearish price action. What do I mean by bearish price action? We're taking out highs and then taking out the lows that generated those highs. We're not doing this. If instead we're holding up here and we're accumulating, we take out a low, we hold, break above a high, and we're holding. So if we see bullish price action up here, then I'm wrong, and that's okay. I'm prepared to be wrong. I'm prepared to lose the money. It is what it is. But for now, I'm going to stick with my thesis. I still think that we're going to trade down into this low. I still think that if we get another pop up, this will be resistance. Now, this was a purely mechanical short here, H12 sweep, H1 trigger. I was long based on this before. So I took this long, and again, I took this on Telegram as well, right? I took this long here, and then it just wasn't really going, right? So we took this long, I got filled, I was instantly underwater. I ended up closing around here for like negative 0.5 R kind of thing. But now we're pushing up and it's like, okay, was I wrong? Did I fumble? Should I have held that? And then Ethereum, on the other hand, printed basically the exact same setup, right? So we had the sweep, you had the H1 trigger. So there's your market structure break, there's your return to origin, and it ripped. Ethereum BTC put in, we're within this 3-day bullish order block here on ETH BTC. I personally think the bottom is in on ETH BTC. I think this is the bottom. Even if Bitcoin has another leg down, I think this is the low. So I've been posting this about on Twitter for ages now, and in Discord, etc., Telegram. I think that the low should form in here on Ethereum BTC, and we're seeing that. We had the 12-hour, we have the 3-day order block. We had a little 12-hour sweep right here, and it's pushing up. So of these two trades that I should have taken long on, Ethereum would have been the better play. But now I'm short purely based on the mechanical sweep and the H1 trigger. We'll wait and see what happens here. If this is just going to continue higher, or if I'm potentially going to get out of this unscathed, and then we can, see what happens. I'm not saying we're going to go directly to 37K. I think we could come down here and then maybe we could play another bounce. This breakdown could take some time, but I'm still pretty confident in this target. Again, I could be completely wrong. So if you're like a bull and you're like, dude, we're going to 50K, we're going all-time high next, I don't fucking care what you say, I'm not selling, then fucking don't. Everything I talk about on these streams, trade ideas and things like that, like this is my money that I'm risking. I'm not trading other people's money. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just sharing, what I'm doing. And if you want to do something similar, it adds or takes away from your, analysis, that's all on you to decide. But other than that, that's kind of all I've got on Bitcoin here. I'm short now and I'm willing to take another stab higher. The only thing that will change my bias from, trading down to 37 is if we start trading above 45, 46 and we, are holding there. Start trading above those two levels, hold there, then clearly I was wrong. And then guess what? Now I'm looking to long. I'm willing to take a short here. And then if it doesn't work, try again here. Because if it does work, the L that I take here is paid off and more on the one that I got right. And if I take a short here and then another one, and then it just keeps going up, guess what? I will flip my bias. I will start looking for longs. Because to me, the asymmetry to the upside is huge. If I'm wrong and this is just super bullish and the low is already in, then guess what? We might be going back to, crazy bullish mode, and, there's going to be a ton of money to be made on the long side. I'm not stressed about taking a couple stop outs. But yeah, it's about taking shots, right? That's what you got to do. You got to trust your system and you got to take the shots when they present themselves. But, overall, this type of price action, this type of PA leads to a big move. The longer we go sideways and we consolidate, the larger the resulting move will be. Let's wait and see what happens here, right? Like anytime you get these little consolidations, they lead to big moves. And the longer the consolidation, the bigger the resulting move. Ethereum looking substantially stronger. Like I said, I think ETH BTC bottom is in. I was long 500 Ethereum from 2280 and I closed it at 2300. So a $15 move that could have been a $100 move. So kicking myself a little bit about that one there. But this is the same range here that we're looking at on Bitcoin. This is December's range on Ethereum. This looks decent, dude. Didn't quite take out that high. I think these are basically equal highs now. The high there is 92.10. The high here is 92. So within 10 cents of each other here, they're equal highs. If Bitcoin is going to pull back to 37, I expect Ethereum to pull back as well. But I think the Ethereum pullback will be shallower because I think the bottom is in for Ethereum BTC. That's just my thoughts. So not too much to update there. This is again zooming out, keeping things in perspective. This is a consolidation after a massive breakout. So even if we dip back to here before going higher, I think that Ethereum is going much higher soon. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, are you tripping over dollars to pick up pennies? But I'm trading. That's what I do. I'm trading. I'm trying to catch these little moves. If you're like long Ethereum from down here, or long Bitcoin from 20 to 30K, I don't really think you have anything to worry about. I think any sort of pullback is going to be a pullback before much higher prices. So you have to keep that perspective in mind, right? Like I'm not shorting here hoping that we go to zero. I am simply trading, waiting for the market to start trending again. That is all. So keep that in mind. And obviously, I would love to buy Bitcoin at fucking sub 40K again. Maybe this was it. Maybe that spike was sub 40. That was it. But I would like to buy, 34, 35, 36K, and I hope I get it. I might not. I'm prepared either way. Dollar is at an interesting spot here. So we're looking like potentially it's breaking up from here. So the month of December was just hideous price action here, but we got a sweep. Personally, I would be of the mindset that the dollar is going to make another leg, but it might pull back a bit first. So I'm looking at the dollar. I see this basically as soon as I pull the chart up, if I can find the fucking tool that I want, back into here. And I think that the liquidity that it's targeting is this weekly block here, right? So that's what I think is going to get tagged on the dollar is this area here. We've got this inefficiency we're just starting to dig into. I still have a bullish bias on DXY for higher prices. Now, the dream scenario, right, is the dollar pumps a little bit more. Crypto gives me the pullback I want, right? And then the dollar puts in a lower high here. Crypto goes gangbusters. Dollar goes fucking Nuki Town. That would be the dream scenario. And again, I could absolutely be wrong here. The dollar could reject here. All of that kind of stuff can happen. But these are just my thoughts and musings of what I think might happen and how I plan on playing it. What exchange you use? I use Bybit. I'm partnered with Bybit. You should use Bybit. You should use my motherfucking ref link. But what if you're trying to sign in without your VPN, alerting them, and then your account is frozen? Well, don't do that then. That would be my advice. I imagine an Ethereum ETF will probably play out similarly. My brain just broke. Well, I'll pray for you, brother. Similarly, simmer down. This feels like I'm about to get stopped out. I know what it feels like to get stopped out, and this feels like I'm gonna get stopped out here. Possibly, bro. Possibly. Stop asking me about how to break the law and how to avoid taxes and stuff. I'm not going to tell you. I thought you are Canadian. I am Canadian. I just long bonk on stream just for the lols. Just for the lols. I can't believe you guys made me long bonk. And if Bitcoin were to puke 5%, I feel like a lot of these coins would get absolutely fucking bukakied. I don't know why I chose that word, but why is it that they're always telling me when it's already parabolic that it's time to buy some? Do you guys not like me? Do we have a LARP on our hands here, guys? Holy crap, bonk up 40% already. Don't fuck with me like that. The truth comes out. See, you bullshitted us, buddy. How dare you lie to me? Harry Potter, Obama Sonic. No, it can't be. Is it dead? Harry Potter, Obama Sonic. And it makes no sense. I'm long bonk, but I'm short Bitcoin. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Congrats, though, on the divorce. Or sorry for you. I don't know. Do you have 4 carotid arteries instead of 2? I actually have 6. You're short BTC. How are we long bonk right now? Because I'm retarded, obviously. So it's not looking good. I like how I spent the whole stream talking about how I want prices to go lower. And the one takeaway from people is going to be that I long bonk.